Hello and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, the tried and true, the main man, he's always here. He's always with me. It's the one and only. It's your boy, Dylan.
Okay. I wish I could build myself up as much as you.
Well, you know, I've been trying to like spice up your intro. I feel like you always have a way of just really making it go like, oh, I'm not that great, and I just want to make it.
Dude,
I want to overcompensate.
It's like getting everybody hyped for a jar of peanut butter and then showing them a single peanut.
I mean, you know, some people would be okay with that. You could send somebody into anaphylactic shock. Okay, that's all I want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Allergies be damned. You're gonna eat this and like it.
You can really change somebody's life. Maybe for the worse. That's okay though.
And or end it.
Anyways, as I was saying, I'm Ian, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host Dylan.
The peanut.
Always. The peanut himself. I don't want to say my peanut gallery. That sounds wrong, but you're so much more than that, Dylan.
Right.
Okay.
Of course.
So this one today has been a long time in the making. I feel like we have hinted at this one, and we have talked about this one for numerous times.
It's been in the corner.
It's been sitting there.
It's just been like, you know, there.
I remember it was probably a couple of months back. You had brought this movie back up, and I had totally forgotten about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the story that I think, if anyone has listened to this show for an extended period of time, you know this story well. You brought this movie up for a second time, and I forgot that we had watched it. And I also remember that, I didn't fall asleep, but I remember being pretty tired when oh my God.
Tired.
It was pretty tired when we watched it last.
Yeah.
I remember being, mostly exhausted when we watched it. Mm-hmm. And I was, kind of falling, dozing off.
It was one of those spur of the moment type watches that I just kind of spring on you every now and then.
And I am not opposed to it at all. But
much in the same vein as Mazinger Z.
Oh yeah, I remember watching this movie and dozing off and kind of having this in and out of consciousness state, and I remembered it, but I remembered it in that weird way of. Is that a
dream?
Was that a movie, or was that a weird dream that I had? Or am I conflating two things? Did we watch a movie while I was dreaming of some weird things? So it felt like, and I described it as a fever dream. I feel like the craziest dreams I have sometimes are the ones whenever I'm kind of sick.
Yeah,
I think that's why that phrase is so popular. But I remember. I remember bits and pieces of this film and just describing it as is that one where there's that guy and he's just with this family in the middle of nowhere, but he's also in cyberspace?
Yes.
And he's taking over the internet and fighting a monster, ? And you're like, yeah, it's 100% what it is. I'm like, oh, all right, yeah. After finishing watching this one for my now official second time and watching it all the way through, by the way, it's called Summer Wars, if I haven't actually said the title so far. Mm-hmm. I love this movie.
It's great.
I loved this movie.
It is a really big family movie for me.
It's so touching. Mm-hmm. It's so lovely, and it is... there's so many things to love about it.
Yeah.
There's also... so many things that can really make it feel like it is ripe for this kind of weird alternate reality movie.
Right.
And it's cool. We're not even seconds into the film, and we get through some credit sequences, and then bam, cyberspace.
Yeah.
Big smiley face with floating objects in this white void, and you're like, oh shit, okay, we're already here.
Right.
And it has this 3D animation quality to it, so it makes it feel... like an animated film, not an anime, traditionally.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, this is what I remember. This is that kind of crazy, off the rails stuff.
Oh yeah.
In this movie, I didn't know this until we start getting a few minutes into the film, and they start saying some numbers that you're kind of able to deduce what year they're in.
Yeah.
They're talking about a 90-year-old grandma. They're going to go celebrate her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I can't believe
she was
born 1920. And it's like, okay, so we're dealing with like 2010 here, give or take. This movie came out in 2010 in November. So almost exactly 12 years ago.
It feels like it came out earlier.
Well, we're watching this film, and I'm like, I'm spooked. Because I can almost, I can say with most assurance for myself, I never talked about like a virtual reality or a online something or another, like an online reality, maybe a little bit, but not fully flushed out like this.
Yeah.
This hammers home with shit that we're dealing with right now. Metaverse just came out with Horizons. What is it called? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Horizon World. It basically is that.
Really?
Where it's like you have an avatar and like you're able to go there and like you can talk to people from around the world and you can just like have communities, but you can set up your Facebook through it and you can pay for things through there and buy designer clothes for your avatar. And I'm watching this and going, this is uncanny and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's real because we're doing this kind of stuff now. And I was like, back in November of 2010, I was still in high school. And I know for a fact, I was not thinking about no virtual reality.
Right.
Maybe Snapchat was doing something.
Not even an inkling.
Maybe Snapchat was doing something with like a funny, alias you could have maybe at that time, but I'm not even sure that's true. Don't take my word on that.
Yeah.
So we're watching this, and I'm like, this is kind of weird because I'm like, there's like shit that came out like 2-3 months ago that is like they call it Oz in this film, and I'm like, Oz feels an awful lot like Meta's
in development.
Meta's Horizon or whatever it's called. I was like, man, this shit's weird. but in Meta's thing, you actually like wear your virtual reality headset and like you can do things and communicate with people and stuff. And it's really crazy. So this doesn't have that. They're all still doing like flip phone stuff, which is interesting.
A couple of DSs here.
I know, a couple of DSs and an old like first gen
iPhone,
which is interesting to look at as well. So like in these first few minutes of this film, it's so interesting for me to think about this like in that aspect. It's kind of weird and kind of feels like a Black Mirror kind of situation in some way.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, just a little foreshadowing.
Perhaps the creators were simply precognizant and they foresaw all this.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure people definitely have thought about more apocalyptic versions of what we're coming out with right now.
Right.
So anyways, but the whole premise of this show is like everything is so integrated on this one platform that they're like there are so many parts of life that are really dependent on it. And it also kind of feels like a Black Mirror episode because of that as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone's so dependent on it and everything is so integrated through it, it makes me feel a little sussed out by a lot of this stuff because we're so dependent on our phones, we're so dependent on internet and like all that stuff as well that we're not dependent on one thing like they are. Like everything's through Oz. Right. So the second that Oz is
the luxury of choice.
Right. But there are still some things like the internet, which is like this vague, omnipresent thing, or not really omnipresent, but like we treat it as though, because like you can go to McDonald's or you can go to your local coffee shop and get Wi-Fi, but without it, you're like, man, I can't really do anything. If you have no cell phone service and no internet, you may as well be just off the grid altogether. Right. Is what it feels like, at least. So for this film, our protagonist is swindled by one of the
most popular girl in school.
Right. He's swindled into like quote unquote working a job, and she goes and takes
going on vacation in the country.
Right. She goes to take her our protagonist to go show him around as if he is her boyfriend to her family. So that way, of course, she looks good for her grandmother who is turning 90. And when he's doing all this, he can't go to sleep one night. He gets this random email, and it's like he's also like a math whiz.
Right.
So he gets this like
A practical mathematician.
Right. He gets this email that has this long code in it.
Just says solve me.
Right. And it's like, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm any mathematician, but like if I'm good at something and you hand me like
give it a crack.
Yeah, you give me a puzzle, or you give me like if you gave me something somewhat of like a camera situation, or like a musician like problem or something, or something that I'm pretty confident in. Like you just kind of throw me a little problem, go like figure it out, be like, oh, okay, I mean, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. So he can't sleep one night. He gets this again. It looks like, for me, it looks like just a wall of numbers, but there's something there for him, and he's like, oh shit, and he's like, he's got a bunch of paper, and he's like figuring shit out, and he gets it all going, solves it, and it's like, surprise, you've been pranked, and it's like, okay, that's weird. And boom, wakes up the next morning, and like the young cousins, I'm guessing they are, come running, and he's like, he's a criminal. And they're like, he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And of course
show him a news report on TV,
right? And it's like, our main man apparently is like shut down Oz, or has like caused a virus to go on the loose, which is like the first steps of like calamity ensuing. And
the first slip on the slide.
Right. It's just so interesting how this movie pans out from there. It feels like it escalates in a good way, but it never goes too like off the walls.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting how at every victory the good guys get, it never quite feels like a satisfying victory.
Yeah.
It's always like
there's always some loose end.
There's always a caveat. It's always like a yes, but
right.
Yeah, so it's always like we got it.
Don't forget about
Right. Or you had that one.
Real close.
You had that one, but you didn't quite have the bigger picture. It's like that kind of stuff. It's very interesting because there's all these moments of like these like satisfying like victories, these conclusions to things that are like progressing us forward. But at each turn, there's like this. It's that level 2 of the puzzle, and you're like, oh man, I gotta
second phase.
Right, but there's always a bigger phase. So, anyways, needless to say, there's this AI that's running amok in Oz, and it's
Love Machine.
Love Machine.
What a good name.
There's a fun fact about why his name is that, and we'll get to that in a second. And he just starts causing a ruckus. You particularly liked his like second phase
because he looks so fucking cool.
Go ahead and describe him for us for a second.
He's got the musculature.
Oh wait, okay. So before we get there, he steals the avatar of a protagonist. Right. So he looks like just like a regular boy with like, I'm assuming Mickey ears.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Right. But instead of him having like his normal happy boy face, he has these like
dead eyes.
These
almost.
the eyes of a man or of an avatar or boy that hasn't slept in a few days.
Right.
He's got the bags on his eyes and kind of looks a little like, but he has this like this oversized,
super wide, like toothy grin.
Right, and it's these like those like
sharp
those sharp triangular teeth like you see like in a cartoon movie, whatever. Yeah. And that's the portrayal of like the bad version of our protagonist. Right. But he's not actually piloting him. It's all by an AI.
Yeah.
And after he gobbles up some innocent other bystanders, he
evolves.
He turns into, and then continue,
a cyber combat monk.
I mean, you're not wrong.
He looks so cool. Like, look up a picture of him right now if you can.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. Hold on. Let me get this going.
Because I don't think Dakota got to see him like that either.
I was drinking my
tea. But he might remember.
Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah. Look at that motherfucker.
The machine. Hold on. I'm pulling up right now. Oh, wait. Hold. Oh, yeah. Look at him. Okay.
God damn, dude.
Oh yeah. So it looks like monk is a good term because he looks like he's got those like baggy pants with like what you'd imagine like some sort of
a figure,
of upper robe that he would have is like tied around his waist, and he's like bare chest with like those like arm bands and
he's got
bracelets,
like tattoos.
Yeah, he's got like a weird I don't know what it's called, like the power line, or like on
circuitry.
on a circuit board. Like you have like the lines that are all like concentric together, and all that. And he's got this wicked headpiece and this what you call it, like this like this ray of like this like sun ray behind him. He looks like a god figure,
right?
Almost, and very terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps the same face. Has more evil eyes instead of dead, sad eyes. And
he's always happy.
And he's always toothy.
Yeah.
Them teeth are always there.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts...
the pinnacle of design in this movie, if you ask me.
Yeah. He starts kicking ass and taking names.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. That's terrifying.
Shit, I got to get my hands on this, man.
So anyways, needless to say... he keeps getting stronger as a antagonist would in a situation like this.
Societal infrastructure.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this is I love the like dual storyline of this film. Mm-hmm. There is may I say, done fairly well. There's like two stories that are moving together at the same time that inevitably merge into one at the end because, again, of common goals.
Right.
What I would say, like the main storyline is like in the real world is this most popular girl that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Natsuki.
see. Natsuki convinces our boy Kenji to go to pretend to be her fiance / boyfriend / whatever.
Right.
And he ends up kind of taking a liking to the family because he doesn't really have a strong family of his own, whereas she has like a very specific lineage.
Oh yeah,
of like
everybody stays connected,
right? Which is very interesting, and it really touched a place in my heart because that is very similar on like the flip flop for my fiance and I. Whereas I have a pretty strong family in some regard. We both have strong families, but she definitely has a better connection with my family in some way.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it kind of...
Only you didn't introduce her to your family under false pretenses.
No, definitely didn't do that. But I
a bullet there.
I really enjoyed... Man, I just really enjoyed that, like the real life story of it. Because as the truth comes out and he's not really... this...
Anything that
that she says he is. The family... obviously in a movie like this is apprehensive towards him and kind of like is pushing him off or whatever,
right.
And then he ends up kind of winning him back over in the end. And I just love the dynamic of like the grandma being like the matriarch and this whole family dynamic. It's just so interesting and cool, and there's all these like family quirks that you'd imagine in a big family like that, and it's just really interesting. And I thought it was very cool how like there's as this story's progressing and he's like getting acclimated and they're having like to celebrate, or they want to celebrate her birthday and all that kind of stuff. There's all these things that are inhibiting them because of this other storyline that's happening over this I don't want to say alternate universe, this like digital infrastructure, I guess, is what you call it.
Yeah.
And it's it's very cool. I like it a lot.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
What was your favorite part?
Oh, man. I liked the part. There's so many, it's hard. I liked the part where after the grandma shit, I can't think straight. After the grandma really kind of attacks and pushes away Watanabe.
Yeah. Wabisuke.
Wabisuke, sorry. Watanabe. I don't know, anyways. Kind of shoos him away, and like, because he kind of caused all this nonsense to happen in the world.
Yeah, fessed up to it.
She like is tired, and Kenji ends up like helping her kind of to her like her study, I guess is what you would call it, or her bedroom. Not even sure.
Yeah.
So he alone is like escorting her to her room to like help her sit down and stuff, and she's like, come play a game of cards with me while we sit down and talk for a while.
Yeah.
And they have this really awesome heart to heart for a minute. Mm-hmm. They're talking, and she basically like convinces him that like, of course, my granddaughter would be the one, or great granddaughter would be the one to swindle a good guy into pretending to be something.
Right.
But if I win this game of cards, I want you to promise me that you will take care of her to the best of your ability. You got to commit. And he obviously...
Enter the family or perish.
He is obviously apprehensive and like, I don't know. I don't believe in myself. I don't know if I can. And then, of course...
It's like, you'll be fine.
She gives him a little bit of time, and he's like, all I can say is I'll try my best.
Right.
And it's just this really...
and then she wins, and it's like, well, good luck, shithead.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, she definitely is like, I guess I still got it, you know, and which is funny. And I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure she had that game in the bag to begin with.
Oh, of course. It's like, there's no way this punk is going to beat me.
Nah. You know who I am?
Right.
So anyways, I like that sequence right there, that sequence of events, because he already at that point in time has kind of been re-accepted back into the family, and they're kind of cool with him in some regard. And their like quote unquote relationship up until this point has not been anything physical. They haven't really. There's been one little mishap where where she's like stumbling out of the bathroom or whatever, and it's like that kind of weird. Yeah. But there's no
fucking spit take.
There's no right. He has nothing in his mouth, and she like accidentally is trying to chase kids out the bathroom. She's covered though, and of course he just goes. And I was like, damn, he's spit taking. He didn't even have anything in his mouth. Yeah. So anyways,
call that a raspberry.
Right. I guess I've never done that before.
You've never gone.
Well, I mean, yeah, but not like. In a regard, like not like in a circumstance,
a surprising situation.
Yeah, if I was surprised by something, I would. My response probably would have been, "Whoop!" Hey, well, right. I'm sorry. Let me avert my eyes. Never just go. Like that's not my first reaction.
Funny if you did though.
Yeah. I may do that if I like accidentally fell. I was like, I was like in the process of like I'm like tripping, like, or I don't know. Good. Anyways, so. But like their like quote unquote relationship, there's like nothing really forced about it. It's very surface level on purpose. Mm-hmm. And as he's like being reintegrated back into the family, there's like this little, you can tell that he's not totally turned off to the idea of possibly taking care of her in some way, or just, if nothing else, being there for her.
I mean, he's got the grandma curse on him now.
Yeah. He's got the wager.
He'll be hexed for life if he refuses.
Yeah. You think so? You think I'm just gonna let you?
You
just
think it's
slide?
That easy?
You think you just get out of this?
Just leave?
Nah. And then of course, just like that, just to, I'm making a joke here. Just to really seal the pact, she dies later that night at 5 a.m.
Just to seal it.
Yeah, just to really seal it. Gotcha, punk. Mm-hmm. You're solid. You're locked in here. I got my granddaughter set up for life with this man.
Right. The pact is made.
No backsies, bitch, and then croaks.
Right. Oh man.
All jokes aside, it is kind of tragic because again, part of the situation is one of her sons, I'm assuming, is like a doctor and has like monitors on her in some capacity. To where, and it's all hooked up through Oz or something or another. And then because the infrastructure's not there, he doesn't get the information that she's not doing well. And then, of course, passes away kind of because of it. And that's one of those pivotal moments that pushes both storylines really far forward, of which like kind of to go to one end goal is like, we really got to stop this because, again, not only did we just lose grandma, but like,
somebody else could lose their grandma.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see the family split of all the...
We got to save the grandmas.
Not the family split, sorry, I said the family split. Right. Of the ladies of the group being more concerned about the party and like...
The
now funeral and like all the plans of everything. Whereas all like... It seems like the men of the family are like, we have to get vengeance!
Right.
And of course they're like, stop... Just stop. Right. And again, one of them, and it really hits hard, is one of the ladies on like the other side of the room, because they're like literally kind of split between a room.
A divide.
One of the ladies turns around and is like, after our main protagonist Kenji's like, I actually kind of agree with Uncle Guy over here.
Mansuke.
He actually kind of like speaks some truth. Like, we got to like do something about this, or else like more people could potentially die.
It's a real problem.
And then one of the ladies across the room turns around and is like,
you got a lot of nerve.
You're speaking a lot of nonsense now. You want me to care about other people whenever we need to care about ourselves? And I was like, I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Right. I get it.
But I'm also not on your side, though.
Right.
That's kind of harsh.
Something has to be done.
I mean, I can understand, let's delegate and like let's split up the party to be like focus on one, focus on the other, but like, man, that's hard.
It's all right. They all come back together.
Oh yeah, they do. But it is an interesting dynamic for the film. It's really cool, and I love that about it. It's very fun.
Yeah. And
then of course the montage of them just getting the best quality gear from every point of the country. Mm-hmm. The biggest, and I mean biggest supercomputer to run some kind of simulation, I guess.
A trap.
An
antivirus program.
A boat to generate energy, I'm assuming. And then an
enormous block of ice. Multiple blocks of ice to help cool the supercomputer.
Right. In the same room.
In a room.
Yeah. And then a Humvee that is also like a satellite internet connection, ? I don't know.
A radar of some sort.
Yeah. The action intensifies towards the ending of this movie, and it's so much fun because like our big bad guy now in his third and final form, he's just this amalgamation,
amorphous mass.
Yeah, of just these 4 million
stolen accounts,
people, just shadow beast.
Right.
What is the character that comes out of the volcano in Fantasia? Chernobog. Yeah, he's just this Chernobog figure of just
a demon.
Yeah, right. But anyways, what was your favorite part of this film?
My favorite part was the intro sequence.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Whenever you see King Cosmo going through the tournament online, and he's just wrecking everybody's
he's
shit
just knocking them all around
effortlessly.
Yes, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Any of the action in this film I like a lot.
Yeah,
I just like the animation style.
I was gonna say it's very interesting the split between the animation style as well. This kind of more 3D animation in the
super vibrant
metaverse. I shouldn't say that. That's probably copyrighted.
Right, we'll get sued.
This Oz world, and then of course like the more traditional animation outside, which is really interesting.
Muted colors.
I loved the motion of the stuff outside of like in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, it just had this kind of more natural motion to it. Yeah, fluid motion. It's very interesting.
Looks good.
It's a very pretty film. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's worth a watch.
I liked, what was his name? Oh gosh, what was his name?
Which character are you talking about? Describe him.
The boy.
The boy.
So Kenji, our protagonist, is one of like a 2-man duo.
Oh, his friend.
His friend. They work together, as like programmers on Oz, and I can't remember his name, but I just love because he just feels like that fun best friend character,
right. Bro.
his bro.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many times where he's like, dude, I don't know. And it's so authentic. And his English voice actor also really well because he kind of plays that as well.
Oh yeah,
where he's just kind of like, he gives his friend a hard time and kind of loves just, right. It's a lot of fun. And I
a winking and a jabbing.
Yeah, you know how it is. So let's see here. It says that I pulled up some trivia stuff here, or I guess some fun facts, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. The Guardians of Oz, which are like these big whales, I think it's like a pink and a blue whale with like crowns on, are called John and Yoko, and it is to allude to John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
This is an interesting choice, as John Lennon and Yoko Ono both helped to rally support for the legal defense of Oz magazine in its 1970 obscurity trial through the Elastic Oz band's single "God Save Us."
Wow,
not sure what that means.
That's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, it's cool. The first sentence in Kenji's original solution. Oh gosh.
After he answered the math problem.
I get. Yeah, so the first sentence in Kenji's original solution, the magic words are squeamish Ophrage. Is a direct reference to one of the first RSA encrypted ciphertext.
That's funny.
To ever be broken. The ciphertext, the first that was first presented in Scientific America in 1977, was only cracked after 6 months of work using over 1,600 machines in 1993 and 1994.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
The name of the rogue AI love machine is a pun on AI in Japanese, which means love.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
That's funny.
I machine.
Aishiteru.
Yes. Love machine not only is a pun on the term AI, but it is also the title of a mourning Musume song, hence one of the uncle's confused question referring to the group from Hello Project.
That's funny.
That's good. The rogue AI love machine's altered appearance after consuming the the first of its bystanders' user accounts is based on the appearance of mainly two icons in Japanese pop culture. The fighter Dalsim from Street Fighter.
Oh my God.
Video game, which is the body.
I can't believe I didn't pick up on that.
The body. And that of the giant robot of Great Mazinger.
Dude, for real?
Transor Z in the U.S. Oh, gosh.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. By Go Nagai.
Mm-hmm.
Head, yeah. Wow.
That's amazing. It's like two of the coolest things I could think of.
Even better, the design of Oz's central spindle axis is based on the art of Murakami Takashi's superflat style. Specifically, the characters in the short anime Superflat Monogram made for fashion house, Louis Vuitton.
Interesting.
Which incidentally also used Madhouse as their animation company.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Nice little callback to previous work.
Yep. Another little. I knew this because of how many times they showed it, and I love this car very much.
Yeah.
Is the car that Wabisuke drives is
Wabisuke.
I'm sorry, it's right here.
It's fine.
Was a 1992 to 2002 series Mazda RX-7, and I love that car very much.
Damn. That's a pretty car.
It is very nice. I love how it just like wrecks the shit out of it right there at the end. It's so great. Let's see. Here we go. There's some other like little fun little tidbits. At an hour and 3 minutes, when Kenji is apologizing for trying to convince the family to assist in protecting the world from Love Machine, a line is referenced from another movie called Seventh Samurai, about the value of interbeing. To protect yourself, you must protect others. And it said,
that's another one we gotta watch.
Characters. I've never seen that film before.
It's one of those Akira Kurosawa films I got on the shelf.
Oh, I see.
It's gonna be really fun.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never really watched any like traditional like old samurai films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, they're better than most give them credit for, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It says
of course,
that...
the only detractors I can think of are people who just think they're too old.
I mean, yeah. It says that there are very prominent manufacturer/product logos in this anime movie.
One of which being Dr. Beba.
Dr. Beber is logos in this anime movie as opposed to the veiled or fabricated ones in most
I don't know. I kind of wish they'd go with the off-brand stuff.
Yeah.
Funnier.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As in most TV animes, among them being Datsun, the car company, Yamaha, Dell, CNN, Apple iPhone, Mazda, Adidas, Sony, and Nintendo. Plenty. Summer Wars draws immense parallels with the original Digimon movie.
Oh God, here we fucking go.
In storyline and in cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
The director directed the Bokura no War Game portion. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I never watched Digimon, but sounds fun.
It's okay. I'll unveil that monstrosity to you one day.
Right. Is it that one with the orange dinosaur guy?
Yeah.
Cool.
Orange dinosaur.
Am I not wrong?
No, you're right.
Cool.
You're right. That's right in the ballpark.
Right. So yeah.
God, that's gonna be so fucking funny to watch again,
Yikes.
dude. It's got such a good dub.
It does?
It does.
Like in a bad way or like in a good way?
Both.
I see.
Like it's still like early 2000s like dubbing, but it's really fucking funny. But they still managed to make it sound like natural enough to where it's not like, oh God, this is awful.
Yeah.
It's just really funny.
So how would you describe this movie in 3 words?
Well, now that I know, I'm going to say... let's see.
Internet family dispute.
Murderous Mazinger Dawson. I think that'll do.
Yeah, that's great.
Man. I can't believe I didn't cite that.
Dude, as to go back to the original portion of this episode, I remember watching this film and, like I said, being mostly coherent enough to understand the story beats, but not quite understanding all of it. Watching this a second time, it is very it's very smooth.
Oh yeah.
I remember it the first time watching. I remember it being hard to follow because I was like, again, not fully coherent. Right. But this time I remember after watching it, it is Yeah, I'm sorry.
I should have got a drum roll going.
Dun, 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 dun. It is very smooth, and its escalation and its delivery, and of course its payoff. Like I said,
it's
all these
well put together,
all these little minor victories that lead up to like this big one. There's so many times where you feel like they're going to succeed, or they do succeed, and you're like,
but not quite,
And it's so interesting because of these like 2 storylines going on at the same time, and life just.
How about that final bout too, by the way?
Oh man,
Hanafuda, that's like beating a computer at chess.
I know.
And she actually got to win.
She was losing there for a second. It felt like trying to play what is that?
I guess that's the issue there really, is that in chess you can't really depend on a random German boy rallying like 1.4 million pawns to your board. And you win with sheer numbers alone.
You want to talk about a good game of chess, though? I mean, hell yeah.
Right.
You want to talk about an actual army sitting over here like, I'm going to win because of strategy. I'm like, I'm going to win by sheer force.
I'm going to overwhelm you.
Yeah. I love it. So, yeah. I really enjoyed this film, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was much needed because I really connected with some of the characters here in this film, and I really had a lot of fun watching it.
This one holds a pretty high spot on my list of people getting punched so hard they explode.
Oh, dude. Oh, my gosh. I can't forget. We cannot forget. Okay. There's this one sequence when everyone's like, we're not going to make it because the world is going to the shitter because no one can communicate and function without Oz being operational. Good old-fashioned analog grandma does what she does best and pulls out.
Can that be the episode title? Analog grandma.
Analog grandma comes busting out there with her Rolodex of contacts and starts like roll dialing everyone.
Got connections.
She's got connections because, again, she's the matriarch of this family.
Dates back way.
Oh, yeah. Ago. She was old when this world was young. Okay. Basically... So she just starts reaching out to people and like just lighting fires underneath people's asses. And it's really great to see because she's like calling her grandchildren who were like firefighters and paramedics and all these other people and just friends of the family and stuff. And she's like, well, shit's going sideways.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Like, oh, and they're like, oh, we haven't. Basically, they had said something along the lines of like, oh, we haven't done anything yet. And she's like, you haven't done anything?
What?
Well, you better get to working on it. We got people to help. You go out there and help people. That's what you do.
Right.
And there's this one line, and she says it just so off the cuff, and I just started expanding upon it like I do in moments like this because I just find it so funny, and I just want to keep making jokes about it.
Right.
Is she says, well, that's all just water under the bridge, honey.
It's only been 50 years since I punched you.
It's only been 50 years since I punched you in the head or whatever it was. And I just thought that was so great, great because I just imagined like, oh, come on, dude. It's only been 20 years since I knocked your block, bruh.
Right.
Grandma just sitting there on the phone, big chilling, being like, well, I tell you, it's only been a handful of years since I cleaned your clock, honey. Come on.
Maybe if you weren't such a little bitch, you would have hit me back.
I'm just telling you, if you had the gall, you wouldn't have fell so fast when I knocked you upside the head.
Oh man!
Now get your ass up and get to work. Right. Is what it feels like, and it's just so. I love that. Grandma doing what she does best, and just
grade A material.
Yeah, I love it. It's very funny. Is there anyone that's your favorite character?
I think I gotta go with Uncle Monsuke.
Is that Sensei? Oh yeah,
tanned old grandpa with the blonde hair.
Yeah,
and somehow gray mustache. He reminds me of my Uncle Keith.
Yeah,
yeah.
Does he just have that kind of demeanor about him?
Oh yeah,
he's just a big man that's like, yeah,
right. Yep, that's him.
I love that. That's great. I love how also like he's always that kind of guy who like just has like the squinty eyes. Right. They're like he never really has his eyes open in the film.
Yeah, but
there's these moments where he gets really passionate.
Something serious
and he's
happens, and he's like wide-eyed as could be.
I feel like everyone.
Like, man, I thought you didn't have those.
The thing is, it's like it's that character of like the kind of trope of this kind of when the passive character gets angry, all of a sudden it means something. Oh yeah, you know. That kind of thing.
When the squinty-eyed character opens his eyes.
I was going to say when the over-aggressive uncle who like never shows his eyes is hyper-aggressive, and you see the entire whites of his eyes. I'm like, shit's going down. Yeah. And there's a couple of times where he's like, and I'm like, oh my god, I can see his entire eyeball, and I'm terrified. Yeah. Because again, he's just that kind of guy who's that's not the kind of thing you expect from him. So. Yeah.
His dynamic with Kazuma is one of my favorites.
Yeah. There's like a young kid who's just this.
Who is King Kazuma, by the way, the rabbit dude who's been kicking ass in the martial arts tournaments online.
Really doing a good job. Doing Lord's work out here.
Right.
I love that. I love that, like, there are so many different people that were like fighting at the end for this one common goal.
Yeah.
Everyone had their own facet, their own thing that they were good at. And I love the fact that it wasn't just one person that was like succeeding at all this.
Yeah.
It wasn't just our main guy, or it wasn't just his, what was her name? His girlfriend, like the Natsuki. Okay.
Yeah.
I just loved that it was like it took everyone kind of having their own special thing they were good at to kind of complete the whole mission.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
The family backseat gaming at Hanafuda.
Yes. I also love the fact that like everyone's like there's this disconnect between the younger people / like the people that understand that this like cyber world is also affecting real life, and there's this other part of the family that kind of is disconnected from it and doesn't really understand it. And I love that dynamic towards the end of the other side of the family that doesn't really get it. It's like, but it's just a game, right? And of course, this young kid that is like basically lost almost everything and is potentially going to like kill his family because he's not good enough.
Right.
Is sitting there like, this isn't a damn game. Right. It was a game, but now it's not anymore. It's like there's like some real shit happening here, and like I understand where you're coming from, but just understand where I'm coming from for a second. Right. We could all die here.
we probably will.
There's a large possibility that I just lost.
The reason we're dead.
Yeah.
Right now.
There was a lot hanging on my shoulders, and I didn't succeed. So right now, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And it's just interesting to have that kind of dynamic of just, I've been in a very low stakes version of that where like, you know, my parents or somebody will be like, you could just pause it right now. Like,
no, I can't.
I'm in a game that you can't really pause like that.
Oh my God.
Again, doesn't carry the same weight, but it just has that same vibe of like, but it's just a game. Games are for losers and geeks.
What types of geeks?
What did he say? He said that
games are for people who don't care enough.
He's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, it's just. Or it's
in
like,
my case, I care very little.
Right. He's like, oh, this is just. Or he said, are you gonna? He said something in the game. He's like, it's not a game. It's a competition.
It's a sport.
It's a sport.
Right.
Games are for people who don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Freaking raw line.
Right.
I love that.
Oh man.
So. Anyways, is there anything else you want to touch on in this film? It's been so, like we said before, it's been so long in the making. I feel like I've tantalized and talked about this film just sparingly throughout 5 or 6 of these episodes of this show. Right. I feel like talking about bringing it back up.
Yeah. Well, I think now that we've mentioned it like verbatim on an episode, we're gonna have to tackle that Digimon movie.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, but it's fine. See, I found a version on a completely legal website.
I see.
That we can watch that significantly improves the movie.
I see. Because it makes it free?
It makes it bearable and free.
Okay. I see. One thing that I'll say kind of towards the end, which also is like the end of the movie as well, is I actually liked the romantic conclusion.
Oh yeah,
I liked that. I liked that.
It was very sweet.
Yes, there was one point in particular after the grandma died that is this very touching moment, and it makes me feel something deep down because I know that I've kind of been in a situation like that.
Yeah,
is like the girl, the like kind of Natsuki. She is she's sitting there and is really sad about her like grandmother passing away, and it's just
about to
really,
break down.
Yes, and then the only thing she says is like, just hold me right here, hold my pinky, hold my hand a little bit,
hold my pinky,
just hold me right here to help make the tears stop. And it's like, damn, that shit's hard.
Yeah.
And then of course, as you know, finding some sort of comfort doesn't make the tears stop. In fact, it just reassures her that she can cry and that's fine. And then
the dam is broken.
Right, exactly. The floodgates are open, and of course he full on holds her hand, and it's just this really touching moment between the two of them. And I love that's kind of their relationship. It's just these little things that keep building up to inevitably at the very end. Of course, the family's like really giving him some shit, and he's like, I really do like her, maybe I do.
Right.
I do care about her a lot. And of course, then she confesses well. It's like, maybe I like you as well.
Right. I guess you're okay.
Right.
Can for a dweeb.
For a loser type of geek.
And a slut.
Can we just say, you want to talk about, I've never seen an accurate reaction of somebody accessing all the equations in their brain.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Okay, so
mental math on a scale not yet perceived by man.
What made me trip up about this is the fact that we just talked about this lovely scene where he's like talking about how he cares about Natsuki, and of course they try to get him to kiss, and of course he can't quite do it because he's just so like nervous and flustered.
Right.
And he has tissues in his nose because not but a few hours earlier,
brain aneurysm.
Oh my God. So he's trying to crack these passwords to keep the gate open long enough for them to stop the missile from falling on the house, basically. He fixes it twice, and he's like running out of time. He's scribbling all these notes. He's going furious like he did for the other few times he's done this before.
He's done this twice now.
Right, and it's crazy. And of course he gets locked out for a third time. It's like third time's the charm.
And he's just like, fuck.
And dude, he's out of stamina is what it looks like.
Right.
He's like, damn, this boy has tried his best, and we're just not quite there. And I love that, is that it's just not good enough.
Right.
Is what it feels like.
And then
out of nowhere, our what was the Rock'em Sock'em Rabbit?
King Cosmo.
Dude, whenever he's running over there to like finally get this one good punch off of the bad guy
to destroy the mouse.
To destroy this mouse, man. Kenji is sitting there, and I mean, the shot
starts typing slowly.
Dude.
His eyes are going every which way like a fucking chameleon.
But it's like, he has this distraught face of like, I've lost and I can't do this anymore. But then he just sits there. And
he does it anyway.
And he's just, oh God. Right. And then of course he's just like clicking one number at a time, or clicking like, and of course
you slowly start to see his nose bleed.
And someone's like,
this man is on the verge of death.
And the thing is, I think one of the other kids, or one of the other people in the background is like,
the uncles is
he doing this in real time? Is he doing this all in his head? And he's just like, and he's like just solving this riddle. And it's like, Jesus, man. And I was like, I've never seen a man go through more hell in that one moment.
Mental trials and tribulations.
Just when you think this man hasn't probably carried his weight, he carries the full weight, the full burden of this entire conclusion on his shoulders. What a great
math Olympian.
Yeah, just really just taking it home. And I love that.
Yeah.
We had talked about, sitting here talking about this, about just not being good enough and failing, give me some nostalgic feelings about a conversation we had about a different movie. And I could be wrong. We may have to talk about this after the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm giving like some deja vu vibes, like we talked about just not being good enough and failing and all that kind of stuff, and what like some sort of Evangelion type thing. Am I?
Oh, God. Am I? Okay, yeah, no, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Once we finish.
Am I right? Did we talk about that?
You probably are. It's okay. We're running up to our usual finishing time.
Right. And I didn't want. As I was saying that, I was like, I feel like I've said this before, but I know for a fact it's not about Summer Wars. Anyways, I've said something very similar to this before.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, we're approaching the end of this show. Let me go ahead and land this plane. Everyone buckle up. I'm your captain speaking.
And I'm your turbulence. Hold on.
Whoa, buddy. And the turbulence talking to us while we're flying.
What do you think the shaking of the plane is?
Oh, it's just a big man.
I'm being asked as politely as I can to be let in.
I see.
And nobody's opening the door.
Just a big man made of clouds going, ooh, let me in.
I want to ride the plane.
I want to ride the plane. Anyways, as I was saying, if you're trying to find out more ways to get in touch with us or to listen to us,
what we do,
yes, you can type in linktree/Ian Wolf, and you can type in, and you can find all of the different places you can listen to us, or ways that you can get in touch with us. Or just type in The Aftermath on your major podcasting platforms, and you can find us that way. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. I'm so glad we were able to do this episode of this movie because I had so much fun watching it.
Oh, yeah.
But until next time,
see you.
Bye-bye.